Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome everyone to the show today. We're going to be interviewing Becky Plautz. She is a retreat photographer with over 15 years experience capturing transformational experiences for women entrepreneurs, leaders, and personal growth communities. As a certified success coach, she combines visual storytelling with identity-based coaching to help women be seen, heard, and known. Through her work behind the camera, Becky has witnessed firsthand the powerful shifts that happen when women step into their space designed for growth, connection, and intentional living. Welcome to the show, Becky.
Thank you for having me, Holly. Excited to be here.
We're happy to have you. So you photographed many retreats over the years. We were having that chat about it. And what have you witnessed happen for women when they step away from their everyday lives and into that retreat space?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Retreats interrupt the noise of daily life. So as women, they finally hear themselves again. And I see this when they arrive. So as a photographer, I'm really capturing the experience as a whole. And so I'm seeing these women come carrying not just their luggage, but their roles, right? Motherhood, business owner, caretaker, leaders. And what I notice in the first day or two, sometimes it takes longer, is they kind of find that exhale along the way, that they start remembering who they are inside and outside of those responsibilities that they have back at home. As a photographer, I get to witness the moment that shift starts to happen. I'm kind of like the fly on the wall, they're just going through this process. And a woman who was standing small on day one suddenly stands taller, laughs more freely, and really allows herself to be seen in a way that, she starts to figure out like she normally wouldn't than what she's doing in that space.
Yeah.
So I love that I get to naturally capture the moment that shift becomes visible.
I love that you're saying this, because what I have noticed in retreats, especially transformational retreats, is when the retreat people show up, like, had you ever considered doing a photo of them before and then a photo of them at the end?
Yeah.
Because so the reason I say that is because what I've noticed, their whole countenance changes. Like their face looks different. They just, like you said, they stand taller. Their shoulders are back a little bit more. I feel like when people get that true transformation, it's just like physically noticed, not just mentally noticed. Right. And so I don't know, have you done that?
I've done that once before, but it's so more and more known. I had someone even just yesterday ask me about that experience, if I've done like a before and after. And as a photographer, we love before and afters. So super powerful to intentionally make sure that we capture those moments, to orchestrate that, like to visibly see the transformation happen at those spaces.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even like the whites of their eyes become brighter. They're just whole aura. Everything is just brighter. So retreat leaders listening to this show today, take note, because that's something, first of all, the importance I want to say of having a photographer who is professional at your retreats. So important. I think that you capture those things, not just for your marketing for future retreats, but for your attendees. I think that's something you could offer them, that you can send a Google Drive and share the photos with them so they can relive those experiences that they had and those shared moments that they had. But so I'm saying that's important, but really lean into the fact that if you were to have someone there doing that, why not? Why not have a before and then an after? You don't have to share that with the attendees if that's what you're doing. That can be like something kind of like a back end plan. And then when you see that difference, share it with them and let them know. But I feel like that's so powerful. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, from your perspective behind the camera, what are some of the most important or the most powerful transformation moments that happen during retreats that you're seeing as a photographer?
Yeah. So transformation is often subtle. but it is powerful. So
Yeah.
it's rarely those big scheduled events or activities that specifically create the most powerful moment. What I've known is that it's those in between spaces at retreats. So, women talking late at night, someone crying during a breakthrough conversation, the
Right.
laughter during those group activities, and, more quiet reflection in nature. Those moments matter because they're evidence of the internal transformation that's happening at the retreat. And I get to capture the emotional heartbeat of the retreat behind the camera doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I know that scares some people. Like if you're an attendee to retreats and you're listening to the show right now, that might go, oh my gosh, I don't want someone filming me when I'm having a breakdown. It's not about that. And I think that as retreat leaders, make sure that you put the container around that in your contract so that they're giving you a media release and what you're planning on doing with it. I think that's a discussion that you can share because you want to capture those vulnerable moments. I mean, when I was in the hospital for 70 days and I was on a ventilator, I looked like crap. I mean, I was half dead, to be honest. And I know my sisters like they took photos, but I look back now and see where I was, where I can't come, and I think I wish I would have had more, just more of certain shots. That we don't think about that at the time. It's like I know that sounds weird, but it's not all for promotion and marketing. It's for memory, and so like if you're having a breakdown and that photographer is at the backside and she just happens to capture that moment, like that's for you. And I don't think everybody has the same breakthroughs at the same time, obviously. So somebody might not have their breakthrough until they get home. And guess what? They open up the Google Drive with all the photos on it, and all of a sudden everything starts coming back, and they have all these, warm fuzzies or maybe not warm fuzzies, but they're breakthroughs later. It's like everybody just has different timing for things. So you as a retreat leader are creating those moments. You as a photographer, Becky, you're creating those moments for people that are transformational, whether they realize it or not. They're coming later. So I think it's just a matter of how we communicate as a retreat leader to the attendees of how we're doing that. And I think also as a photographer, my suggestion would be make sure everybody's feeling comfortable with you, because you're going to be not in their face, but behind the scenes, so to speak, with those vulnerable moments at times. And so also, there'll be people that don't agree to that. They will upfront agree, I'm not signing that. No, I don't want that. So you as a photographer, tell me how you would handle that situation. So you have a group of 12 women at this retreat, and there's two women. So two women out of those 12 that are refusing to have their self photographs or photography, photographs done.
Yeah.
How would you handle that?
Yeah, so I've definitely had an experience with, there's certain person that really doesn't, they hate their picture being taken and they do not want to be in any marketing material. And that's actually pretty easy. I mean, as long as you're communicating with your photographer and understanding like who it is. Me personally, I will have a conversation with that person to make sure that they're comfortable even with me moving around the room, to know like I will respect the boundaries. And then you can get like behind their head, or they're not in the group picture that is shared out, or there's different things that as a photographer, over the years I've just really learned to respect what people want. And I also, I curate who I work with and the energy of their retreat, to know like it's pretty known when I'm working with a retreat, like the photos are about anchoring the identity and the transformation for these people. So I don't get that often nowadays, but when I do, there's, hand photos or just not their actual photo of their face in the pictures. And it's pretty easy to do that in a group setting where you don't get that person that is
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Well, Photoshop does amazing things nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Well, so we kind of covered this a little bit, but many retreat leaders think of photography as just the marketing content. Um, I mean, we didn't talk about that piece of it, but why do you believe it can actually be part of the transformational experience? Is having photography?
Yeah. So I think it's way more than marketing content. And I really come from this direction of, use the photos for marketing, sure, in different ways, in specific scenarios. But what I've seen is that the photos often become more of what you were kind of alluding to, right? That more meaningful anchoring of the participation, the people that they're meeting. When a woman sees an image of herself standing confidently, laughing more freely, like we mentioned earlier, like it becomes more proof to her that who she's becoming in that space, in that energy. And you, as a retreat leader, get to curate that. So those photos are reminders, that this version of them exists, even when they get back home to their daily busy lives or their abundant lives, right? These photos help the participants remember their transformation with you in that community. So it's so much more powerful than just capturing bodies in a room and having content,
Right.
really exempling the transformation visibly and helping that anchor that for those participants to know like it's a keepsake of their time.
Yeah. Well, and it's worth a budget line on your spreadsheet of costs. It's just cost of doing business when you put it in there and having someone come that is professional. And you can sometimes people will do a swap, or they'll do a discounted fee or they let the photographer charge, like have photo sessions, private photo sessions where then they charge extra for that. And that can be a way
Mhm.
that they can come and help cover some of the costs as well. So there's different ways that you can figure it out to have a professional photographer and videographer for that matter. I know we talked about that a little bit before the show, about doing, shots, testimonials, things like that. If you're paying and having a photographer come to your retreat, like that should be a no brainer. Anyone that was willing to get on and give you a testimonial, you want those, like, especially in the space that they're in, because the testimony becomes so much more powerful when they're in it and they've just experienced that transformation. And obviously you're doing it more towards the end, right? When they've had that breakthrough and they've had that transformation. But I think, yeah, it's so important to add that line item on your spreadsheet for budgeting for sure. What are a few things retreat leaders can do to create an environment where participants feel safe, being seen, heard, and known?
Yeah, and I'm sure that your audience, is aware that transformation requires emotional safety. So that's huge to just make sure that we know that and just think about the flow of your retreat more than a single time slot on the agenda to hold space for them to feel safe. So things like slowing down the schedule, like less is more. And that's really what I've found as a photographer and seeing how people operate within this agenda to say, like, give space for reflection.
Yeah.
Another one would be allowing those real conversations and dialogue with the participants to engage one another, because this really creates trust within your group dynamic to allow that to naturally occur instead of like on to the next thing. And then I would say the thing is really about modeling that vulnerability as the host or the leader of the experience. Like that's leadership. You're going first on these things and before you're asking other people to do them. And as a photographer, I'm very intentional about not disrupting those spaces, like in the flow, like being, like I said, a fly on the wall. And my job is to observe and honor what's naturally unfolding versus, oh, Holly, do this, do this. It's more of the natural unfolding that's happening that I get to protect the integrity of those moments.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have some shots that are actually posed for too, only because I make the weirdest
Yeah,
faces, and you can bet that's when the photographer catches me, and it's like, ugh, so.
absolutely. I hear you
And
on
I know
that
I'm
as
not
well.
alone in that. I'm not trying to judge myself. I'm just saying it's just the way
It's
it is.
real.
Like sometimes when you know you look good and you have a stage or a place that's great, boy, take advantage of those shots that prepared. You need
Absolutely.
those too.
You need both.
How can retreat leaders capture and extend the impact of their retreat so participants carry the confidence and transformation home?
Yeah, I come from a place of understanding like the retreat is the beginning a lot of times, right? It's not the end of their experience. They are tapping in, at this surface level of like diving in to know that there's something deeper for them. So, one of the things I love about capturing retreats is that the photos become those reminders of who they've decided to be in that space, right? They're in this beautiful energy, and a woman stepping into leadership, someone, bless you, someone reconnecting with joy. Hey, this is real. That happens. Um,
You gotta sneeze, you gotta sneeze.
that's right. And someone feeling confident in their own body, right? Like they're making the decision to embody that energy at this space in this retreat setting during this transformation. So when they go home and life gets full and abundant again, those images are those reminders that they
Hmm.
experience something different, that they can choose to tap back into the energy of that and
Yeah.
what's possible for them to move forward, and they more of it in the future, which is a great opportunity for you to have another experience ready for them. And I love that I get to help extend the impact of the retreat beyond the in-person event itself in
Hmm.
that way, because the images are a keepsake of the transformative moments that you orchestrated and the impact of those relationships that probably began, if they didn't know each other before that, right there at the retreat, which is so powerful for them to be able to take it home and then remember those moments, because they're not remembering it all, they're not understanding, they're not processing all of it in those moments, in those days at the retreat. And that gives them another opportunity to sit with and move through and feel into what's true for them even after the fact.
Yeah, that's true. I want to jump over talking a little bit about video because we all know we're in a world where reels are so popular right now, video is so popular. So let's talk about the importance of a photographer who also can, be a videographer in most cases, where they're creating those videos of just things that are happening or activities that you're doing during the retreat. How many reels can you make out of that? I mean, I talk about the importance of that for somebody bringing somebody like you to a retreat.
Yeah, absolutely. My what I do when I'm doing retreats is that I will grab video in any of the moments. Anything that I'm like, "Ooh, this is a good little breakthrough moment that is happening in this session." And especially if I don't want to draw, if it's a deep breakthrough, I will tend to do more of a video than a photo, because they might hear clicking and it could take them out of their process. And so I respect that in the way that I'll document it through video so that they could take a little sound clip or have them coaching in the moments. So I choose various times to kind of capture those moments with video versus a photo, because I mean, if a photo is worth 1,000 words or whatever they say, like a video is so much more when you can actually capture the emotion and the depth in motion. And then
Yeah.
I use that for testimonials as well. So that's one of the things that I really focus on, is maybe even right after, there's a group experience and they are like, that was amazing. And I hear them say, I'm like, can I grab you really quick if you're willing to do and I've already built a
Yeah.
relationship with them throughout the experience, that they're comfortable with me and know I'm here to document it, and they understand that. People are
Yeah.
really willing in the moment more than they think they have to go overthink how they want to articulate it.
Yeah.
And I just have a real conversation. That's one of my gifts, is that I kind of give them a question that they can respond to, and it's more naturally occurring for them to express what that meant for them, which is so powerful to hear their words.
I agree. Videos just so that's just another tip we're giving you. Like you want that too, because you can do so much with marketing later with it. Okay, we're on to some rapid fire. These are just simple one air answer, one sentence question or answers to my questions for fun. Okay. All
Okay.
right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sunrise or sunset shoots,
Ooh, sunset.
candid moments or posed shots.
It's hard. Okay. I'm going to say posed.
Okay. Beach retreat or mountain retreat,
Beach.
coffee or matcha,
Coffee.
photo or video if you had to choose one forever.
Ooh, video.
Your go-to song while editing.
Oh my gosh. Megan Trainor, I love me.
Ooh, I love that. Dream retreat location to shoot.
Ooh, Sedona, Arizona.
Oh, it's beautiful there. I live in, southern Utah, so we look the same. One word to describe your style.
Bold.
Okay, so now if they want to get, our listeners want to get a hold of you, we're going to have your information in the show notes. Is there any other words of wisdom that you can leave?
I would say words of wisdom for retreats is, it is important to document the experience. And by all means, find someone that can work on staying in the shadows, so to say, but also making sure that they're comfortable with them. I've been to retreats where it's been the opposite and it's so day and night. So making sure that you have an opportunity to not only have the marketing material, but the transformation documented for even your own evidence to know, like, man, even if it wasn't as big or successful, whatever that might mean for you, to look back and see the transformation in those photos of the participants that were there and received from you. It's so
Yeah.
fulfilling to later recognize, like, that really was successful. And if not for this view, at least for yourself to know, like, you showed up and you
Yeah.
did the thing, is so important. So yeah, make sure you
Kind of a
take time for that.
kind of a nice little pat on the back for yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
It's important.
Documentation. Okay, that's really what everybody needs to be walking away with. Why you need documentation, why you need real material, REEL, but I guess it is real too, right? REAL.
Yeah. Well, and
Thanks so much, Becky.
Holly, if I
Yeah,
could just say too, the other side of
sure.
that, the professional photographer side of that is like, taking pictures on your own with your phone is great, but you being able to be present is the most important thing so that you can orchestrate the transformation. Like, that's why I say the photographer side is so that you're not trying to
Yeah,
do multiple things, which I'm sure you talk about with your audience, but that's really the power in having someone else that has the eye and the understanding of that. There's just so much value in you being able to focus on your zone of genius.
yeah. So great words of advice. We give that often actually on this podcast.
Good.
So thank you for being a great guest. And I'm sure our listeners can take some of these nuggets and hopefully they will apply them into their retreats and think about long and hard about a great photographer. So if you want one to come to you, Becky's willing to come and do that for you. And so you'll be able to get her information on the show notes. And until then, everyone, we'll see you next week on the show. And we appreciate you being here and listening. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess, get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.